Good evening and welcome to Suffering in Silence with Evangelist Tia here on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. We're here with you every Friday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern in Love Bay as usual. And as always, we are rising out of the ashes together. Our topic on tonight is Magnify Your Essence. We are going to continue a conversation that we started some time ago with now Dr. Carolyn Wilson. That is our guest for the evening, and our co-host is Jennifer Peterkin. Listeners, if you have any questions or comments for our guest or our co-host, you can email us at sufferinginsilencedv@gmail.com. You can also text us at 437-778-3299. And the same if you have any resources that you would like to share with us on a national or local level from your country, your community, local organizations, or your faith community, you can also email us at sufferinginsilencedv@gmail.com. And with that, Jen, I would ask if you would take a moment and greet our listeners and viewers.
Absolutely. Once again, so happy to be back with the Love Bay family on Suffering in Silence with Minister Tia, Evangelist Tia, and Dr. Carolyn. So this is my first time meeting Dr. Carolyn, so I'm quite excited to have a conversation with her. If you're new to the program or happen to have not been listening when I've been on, my name is Jennifer Peterkin. I am a domestic violence survivor and advocate. I work closely with Evangelist Tia through her organization Rise Out of the Ashes, as well as Suffering in Silence. And I have my own project that I do, which was born out of my experience with domestic violence, which is called The Human Experience. It is a podcast where I travel the world and I interview people about their personal stories and how those stories have shaped who they have become. So if you're interested in checking that out, you can visit me on Instagram and TikTok at the HX Pod, or go to my website, thehxpod.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Jen. Dr. Carolyn Wilson, if you would greet our listeners and viewers on tonight, please.
Yes. Hello. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, because I don't know where you're at in the world.
Right.
And also, I don't know when you're going to watch this. So greetings. Hello, my name is Carolyn Wilson. Now, Doctor, I have to get used to that. Dr. Carolyn Wilson. It's an honorary doctorate, but I'm going to still hold it and keep that title close to my heart. My life is my dissertation. So I'm so excited to be here once again. This has been a long time coming. We've changed this date many a times, but I'm just so honored to be here before you, and especially during this month for all the things run together, domestic violence awareness month. So you'll understand why I made a slip, because it will make sense when we start getting into how you can magnify your essence. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So Love Bay, as usual, we want to start with sharing some resources. We do want to ask again for your help, for your donations to our nonprofit, Rise Out of the Ashes, Inc. You can write a check to Rise Out of the Ashes, Inc. Our address is P.O. Box 15, Drexel Hill, PA 19026. You can also go to GoFundMe and look for our nonprofit, Rise Out of the Ashes, Inc., and you can donate that way. The biggest thing that we do is emergency funding. We help individuals move with transportation from one location to another to be in a safe space. We help individuals with emergencies that come along with fleeing a situation, dealing with domestic violence, medication that needs to be replaced, food and clothes that need to be bought. We try to do our part to help, but we need help to be able to continue to do what we do. So we are asking for that. I want to also share Pastor Darius Daniels. He's the pastor of Change Church. If you would like to visit his website, it is dariusdaniels.com. His YouTube channel is Darius Daniels TV. In Kenya, Africa, I want to share the Coalition on Violence Against Women. Their website is covaw.or.ke. In Malawi, Africa, we have the Center for Alternatives for Victimized Women and Children. Their website is cav.org. Their phone number is 265 052 39876. In Nigeria, Africa, we have the Project Alert on Violence Against Women. Their website is projectalertnig.org. In Rwanda, Africa, we have Rwanda Women's Network. Their website is rwandawomennetwork.org. And with that, we move into our topic on tonight, which again is Magnify Your Essence. And what I would love to do, Dr. Carolyn Wilson, upon giving you congratulations of the honor you have received in becoming doctor, if you would take a moment, if you could just refresh and remind our listeners and viewers exactly what Magnify Your Essence is, what it means, and why you created it. A little bit at a time.
Everyone breathe with me right now. Take a deep breath in. Yeah, that's what you need in order to magnify rest. Is you need to be able to just inhale and experience all of that your creator has for you. It's who you are. So let's just break down the words. So you have magnify your essence. You have essence. It's that, I see Jennifer's part, and that's actually it's so interesting. That's my daughter's, that's my child's name. So I love that. And one of my best friends, she's Peterkin, which is also, she's a breast cancer survivor. And this is also Breast Cancer Survivor Awareness Month. So how cool. I love the parallels here. But essence is about who you are. It's just about who you are, right? It's your essence. But when you really get to tune in to tap into who you really are, whose you really are, then you get to magnify it. Magnify means to increase and to enlarge. So once you're able to magnify who you are, wow. See, my name is Carolyn, right? And I used to always get teased as a kid. Like, remember the movie Poltergeist? This is also October for, the people who celebrate October.
I never watched it. I was too scared. I don't do scary stuff. So
I know, but there's a whole market out there. There's a lot of people that love this month. Love this month. It's bigger than Christmas. But remember the movie Poltergeist? And he's like, "Come to the light, Carolyn. Come to the light, Carolyn." I used to hate that. I used to hate it with a passion. But then I started to realize, like, oh, wait a minute. That's because I am the light. I am the light. I am the light. So it took some time to get to be in a place and space to magnify, your essence. Now, I was talking to myself in third person, but really I was talking to all of you, right? Because I can say I'm gonna magnify my essence, but that's just about me. And in life, we have these, I'm seeing it's a human experience. We have a human experience with others. We are just a vessel to experience life with others. So hence, I'm speaking to you, even though I was speaking to me, but to me through you to magnify your essence, right? And the reason why and how you can get to that is when you start to understand that the things that have happened to you, the things that you may have encountered, the obstacles in your life were not your fault, were not your descriptive, was not to describe who you are. It was not to identify who you are. But a lot of times we carry those burdens. And when you heard me kind of slip a little bit earlier, because I was going to say sexual assault, because I'm a survivor of sexual child abuse. Yeah, put a little pause on that. That was the foundation to leading to domestic violence, intimate partner, whatever buzzword you want to use. It's all the same. Anytime someone has control over you or is coerced, there you go. You're not in your power. But when you can magnify your essence, you are definitely in all of your power and all of your glory and everything that you are destined to be. So I remember going through a time, if I can just take you back a little bit, I remember going through a time where I just was like, something is off with my life. It just didn't feel right. I mean, I was already, had the whole stigma of being sexually abused. I was able to finally just admit it. I can say it. I was transparent with it, but I wasn't being vulnerable with it. I want you to hold on to that nugget for a second.
Mm.
And then I was able to go through life, and then I ended up in the situations that I ended up in that relates to the topic for this month. And but still being able to, because we're just resilient people, and being able to press through in the midst of my mess, in the midst of doing things that was counterintuitive to my purpose. It just didn't feel right. It was that little thing that I felt in my gut was like, but I didn't know how, and I didn't have the answers to how. And I remember jotting on some paper, and I remember going to counseling. Yes, I went to counseling, or I was trying to go to counseling. And I remember I wrote out like this timeline of my life. And I said, this stuff doesn't even make sense. How is it that I'm able to function in one area of my life that's like super and stellar? And then there's another part of my life that feels like I feel, didn't mean that I was, but I felt like I was like the scum of the earth and beneath my shoes, and just didn't have any value, and just could not walk in, didn't know what power was, didn't even know what my power was, right? So I was like, this is a mix match. It's something doesn't equate. So fast forward, one of the things that I love, if you're familiar with Joyce Myers,
Yes.
she is a powerful being. She has a quote that I'm like, that's it, dead on. You could be powerful or you could be pitiful.
Mm.
You can't be both. My left and my right hand cannot be one. One is left, one is right. Can't be both. Even if I cross my hands together, they're still not both. You can't operate and function in both areas. And that's how I was in my life. I was powerful in one area of my life, and I was pitiful in another area of my life. And guess what? It was a tug of war with me, with how I showed up as this experience that I was supposed to be for the world. I couldn't show up in my authentic self. I couldn't be who I was already created to be, because I was battling with this being powerful and being pitiful, right? God has already allowed me, God is my higher power who I turn to, has already given me the path and given me the things to be powerful. But I just didn't understand it and realize it because of the things that occurred to me, which I was holding on to and gave it more weight. So if you have a scale, I was giving those things more weight, and I was allowing them to identify me. So in my process of trying to discover me, rediscover me, I was like, okay, I just need to work on me. It needs to be project me. I'm helping other people. I need to, because I'm volunteering, I'm doing all kinds of great stuff for other people. But I'm like, no, I need to work on me. So I'm like, so me, I'm big on acronyms. I was like, me, what does me stand for? And I was like, okay, me has to stand for something, because I have to stand for something so it can stick. And I was like, me. Okay, it's project me. It's my project. And I was like, I don't really like that. I said, other people got that. And I said, So then I was like, me. Okay, magnificent, marvelous. I was like, yeah, all those things are true. But I was like, all right, I'm gonna hold on to that. So I'm gonna hold on to that. Let me go back to E. So what is E? Excellent, excellence. And I was like, yeah, but those are just intangible things. I needed something to be personal, right? I needed something to really stick to me. So I was like, well, who am I? And I'm like, well, a human being, there is an essence to us. I was like, ooh, E, essence. I was like, so what do I need to do with this essence? Do I need to make it marvelous? Yeah, that's kind of condescending. I mean, that's like kind of being a little egotistical. But I need to know this essence that I have. I need to increase it. I need to enlarge it, so that way this powerful piece of me can override this other part, and wipe away this other piece that I was holding on too strongly. And I said, magnify. I was like, That's it. Carolyn, it's time. It's time. I'm talking now. I'm on the outside looking into me. Carolyn, it's time for you to magnify your essence because you are a light. You are. So now I'm talking to somebody because you are a light that someone is waiting for. You are the one. You are the vessel that has been placed here for someone else. So, regardless of all the other things that you thought identified you, this is now the time for you to understand and realize how powerful you truly, really are. It's going to be challenging. There's going to have some moments. You're going to have setbacks. It's not going to be roses,
Mhm.
but yet, there's still going to be a beauty to it. It's still going to have an aroma that smells. It's still, people are going to know who you are before you even show up. This is the journey that you have to take. It's not only for yourself to magnify your essence, but to help others, to see their light, to understand their power, for them to understand how great and marvelous they are, regardless of their background, regardless of what happened to them, regardless. So, as I was walking through that journey for me, I had you in mind, and that's the beginning of Magnify Your Essence.
Wow. That is beautiful. And I want to ask you,
Yeah,
I know you've been doing this for years. I know the hard work that you've put into it. I want to ask you, what
sure.
pressure do you feel, if any, what pressure do you feel as you are helping others to magnify their essence? What pressure do you feel on magnifying your own, or trying to keep yourself in that encouraging place where you know your light is shining and you have to continue to let your light shine?
Hmm.
And how hard is that for you to do? Because we're still human, we still go through our stuff, but how hard is that for you?
That is such a great question.
And I know the answer, so we have to.
And I'm going to give you a really great answer. I got to get closer to somebody so y'all can feel me up in here. How we say, as my uncle Les Brown says, up in here, up in here. Listen, I can hear him now laughing. But listen, let me tell you. Let me tell Jennifer, let me tell you. Because I know you listen to
Tell me.
Jennifer. Jennifer like, yo, tell me more, tell me more. She's like, I found my people. So once again, so here we go. So how hard? Oh boy. Listen, no one is immune to any of these things. However, what I can tell you is that it's called resilience.
Yes.
It's called resiliency. It's called being able to bounce back. It's called being able to snap back. Here's the thing. Willie Jolly, amazing motivational speaker. Met him many, many, many moons ago. A setback is a setup for a comeback. So just understand that your setback is just a temporary thing. And if you can understand that and realize that this is just in a moment, to stay in the now, like it's a training of your whole being, your whole everything. You will get tested.
Mhm.
But when you have learned how to self-regulate, for other words, self-regulate, being self-aware, when you know, once again, it's back to magnify your essence, right? When you know who you are, when you know whose you are, when you know everything about you, your good, bad, indifferent, then you can get through those rough days, those rough patches. Let me give you case in point. We got a little bit of time, right?
Little bit, little bit.
All right. So when I got on, when before backstage, I was like, yo, I was just in 2300 Jackson Street. And you're like, I feel like a song is coming on. Well, that's because I had a journey this past week before I traveled to Gary, Indiana. what the heck is in Gary, Indiana, other than 2300 Jackson Street that I did go to. I did go to the Jackson's house. It's a little teeny house, right? But here's the thing. There's a great thing. Small things. Never despise the small things. The good. Wait a minute. Pause. The scripture today. See, now I got to bring this in. Let me pull this up real quick. So the scripture today, if I may, because it's going to tie into this, and especially when I just talked about with the Jackson house being this little teeny house.
Mm-hmm.
So Matthew 5:6, blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. But part of that is the good life. It's like the things that you crave. It's the good life. We think that the good life, no pun, but pun intended also, I have a film called The Good Life. But the good life, literally, we think it's riches, right? So the Jacksons, they went from rags to riches. It's a real true rags to riches story. Like the house is in the middle of a neighborhood, but it's a neighborhood, right? It's a very trying neighborhood that you can definitely see that there's some I don't even know how to put it, but there's some challenges, right, for the neighborhood. But yet greatness came from that space. Greatness came from this little tiny, 800. Okay, I had to look up how big this house is. 800 square feet was the size of this house. 2 bedrooms. You know how many Jacksons there were? 2 bedrooms, 856, I think, square foot. 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom. Okay, little things. Greatness comes from that. So according to that, according to what the good life is, according to the things, God will use you when you're at your lowest.
Mm-hmm.
God will use you when things don't seem to be right. That truly is your good life. When you can prosper in the midst of your mess, that's truly your good life.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you have breath, you have good life. As long as you have something on your body, you have good life. As long as you have something to eat, to drink at any given point in time, that's your good life. It doesn't have to always be constant, but just because you have it, that is your good life. And God can use you. God used me. God uses everyone that's on here to prosper in those spaces. Mm-hmm. So in order for you to get to that other space where you can really be this true vessel for someone to be able to see and be like, that's the light I've been looking for. That's the light at the end of the tunnel. This is what's giving me hope, because we're brought here to be vessels of hope, right? Mm-hmm. For someone else. But you had to work through those things. Just like I'm pretty sure the Jacksons had to work through that space. They had to work through that space. Mm-hmm. And they had to get to the other side. And that's the same thing with what you're talking about. How do you maneuver it? You just, once you have already built up this temperament, then you can get through anything. You bounce back. You already know your setback is going to set you up for a comeback. So now we tapping into your mindset. Now we tapping into, how do you think about these things? How do you believe these things? How do you act upon these things? So quickly, I can give you, I'm trying to do this in a real quick narrative, but I was on my way to, I got to the airport. I'm there. Every time I'm at an airport, because if you guys been following me, you'll see every time I'm traveling, you'll see my pictures of wherever I'm at. So I was like, oh, I'm in Chicago. Never been to Chicago. So let me get my phone so I can take a picture of me in Chicago with the sign that says, welcome to Chicago. Phone it died. I was like, oh gosh. I had just texted everybody to say I landed. Long story short, I was like, I need to be able to call the rental agency. It's an off lot agency to get the car. I can't call them because my phone died. I'm trying to charge my phone. It would only go to about a 1%, and then as soon as I touched it, it went back, and I was like, "Oh gosh, now I'm stuck." So then I said, "Okay, wait, I have my computer. Let me tap into the Wi-Fi. I can call them from my computer." Did that. Got to the rental agency. Got the car. I said, "I need to plug up the GPS. Got to plug it up with my what? With my phone." That wasn't working. So then I'm like, okay, great. I charged the phone up enough. I said, listen, there's no GPS in the car. Now I got the phone. They charged it up enough. It was like 23%. I said, this is good enough. Plugged it up, got the directions. But something said, write the directions down. Thank goodness I did. Because as I'm driving, I said, let me go find a store, buy a better cord so it can charge better. Bought a better cord. I'm in the car, heard it say, you have 6 miles before I had to look for this turn. And I'm just driving. So I text and say, hey, I'm on my way. Mind you, like a SpongeBob 3 hours later, right? So 3 hours later. So now I'm in the car, I'm driving, and I realize I've been driving for a while. And I'm like, I didn't hear anything. Guess what happened? Phone went down again. So now I tell you, like, I'm like, you're looking at me right now. You're probably touching my hands right now. It took everything out of me. Each time when I was sitting in the airport, like, okay, I think I'm stranded in the airport, to, okay, no, now I'm stranded at the rental car agency, to no, I'm just aimlessly wandering, driving around Chicago, not knowing where I'm going. It took everything out of me not to pull over, start crying, yell, rock back and forth, suck my thumb, and start just took everything out of me. But I had to then tap into, okay, Carolyn, I was like, trust and believe you're going to get there. You're not where you were before. Like when I was in the airport, I thought that was the end. I almost freaked out then and panicked. And I was like, no, there's another way. Okay, now I get to the car rental agency, and then that became an issue. And I was like, no, there's another way. And then in the midst of driving, I was like, no, there's another way. And it still didn't end there. But I just wanted to use that as an example, that because when you build yourself up to understand who you are and understand how you can maneuver in different circumstances as they come up, then you can pivot.
Yes.
You can pivot. You can handle it. You can, but trust and believe in those moments. It's everything out of me.
So, Dr. Carolyn, I want to I want to ask you to share your contact information, and then I want to make a point, and then Jen, I'll go to you for a question or comment. But first, can you please share your contact information for anyone who wants to learn more of Magnify Your Essence, and all that you do?
Absolutely. So as you can see right there underneath somewhere, that's my Instagram tag, at Be Magnified, so properly named. Then you can also go to, if you are familiar with Linktree, you could just go Linktree, and / my name, Carolyn Wilson. That's the most easiest way. And then you can find all of my social media platforms, my MYE Institute, which is my my school for personal and professional development. So you too can learn how to be magnified. And my upcoming conference. So all of those things you'll be able to find if you just go to Linktree or just Google me.
Awesome. So now, I wanted to make this comment, and then Jen, I'll go to you for a question or comment from yourself. What I wanted to say is, before you start on that path of wanting to learn how to be magnified, before you can get into that mindset of I want to magnify my essence, you want to magnify your essence, you got to do the work. So I want to tell you this before you get to Dr. Carolyn, because you're going to get your feelings hurt if you come into her presence and you have not done this work, really. And that's just how that's. So I want to set this up for you. You have to do the work on yourself. You have to face your reality. You have to be honest about yourself, your issues, whatever it is that you're dealing with. You're not going to step into this program and sweep everything under the rug and say, hey, I want to step into the light. I want to magnify myself. I want to be good. No, you got to do the hard work first. So what Dr. Carolyn does is once you put that hard work in, she can help you take your healing process to another level. She can help you take that vision of yourself to another level. She can help you take that plan to another level. She can even help you begin to put a plan together, but that plan has to be based off of truth. It has to be based off you did what you needed to do. You are doing what you need to do for yourself. That could be counseling. That could be looking yourself in the mirror and saying, this is what it is. This is what I'm dealing with. This is what I have done. This is what I haven't done. Or it could be just admitting this is what has happened to me. This is the abuse that I am facing or that I have faced. So I wanted to throw that out there. You don't just wake up and say, I'm going to be on top of the mountain today without doing the work. Because I'm telling you, you can get there. And Dr. Carolyn, this is her ministry. This is her organization. This is her work. She can help you, but you got to start with truth. So before you start reaching out, I just wanted to throw that out there because she will tell you. and I think that's part of being a good leader. That's part of being a good coach, a good mentor, a good advocate, is when you can look at an individual and say, you know, I want to help you, but you're not at this place yet. These are the steps that you have to do.
Right.
So, Love Babe, what you want to do is you want to get with me and Jen first so we can help you with that. That's our area. That's our area of helping with that first process, and then we'll move you along to Dr. Carolyn. Right. All right, Jen.
Yeah, I kind of just want to piggyback off of you. I think there's, you know, we hold space for when you're walking through trauma, right? I mean,
yes.
there are things that happen to you that you cannot help, that are not your fault, that should never have happened, and you don't have to take responsibility for those things. But you know, one of the things we talk about is the fact that leaving is a really difficult part of a domestic violence situation. And it is, but I don't think it's the hardest part. I think what comes afterwards is the hardest part, because then you have to reconcile who you have become after this trauma, because it does change you. There's no world where that doesn't change you. And when we talk about abuse being cyclical and breaking the cycle, that's what we mean, because the people that have been abused, that become abusers, are the people that have not worked through their trauma. They're the people that have not done the work, and they're hurting. And that is where that what happened to you is no longer an excuse. It's not a justification for your own behavior, because at the end of the day, you will always be responsible for yourself and accountable for your actions and how they have affected other people. So yeah, it has to be, you have to do the work, and then you have to keep going. It is a lifelong journey. It's not something you stop doing.
Yeah. I that is perfect. And then, and Dr. Carolyn, if you could, you know, add to is what you just said, Jen, a lifelong journey. I that is something that I did not expect. I really thought, like, as I was, you know, when I got out of the situation, when I got out of the house of dealing with domestic violence, when I was moving on, you know, going through counseling and doing what I needed to do for myself and for my children, I thought I was going to go through this process. I'm going to be good. It's going to be over, and that's it. But I slowly realized, no, this is a lifelong effort. I'm in a better place. I'm in a much better place, but it's a lifelong effort. Like, this is something that I will continually have to work at. Some things get easier. Sometimes I can feel like I'm back at square one, but it doesn't end. And I had to reconcile that fact with myself, because I didn't expect it. I didn't. I thought I was just going to be cool. And I was waiting for that. And I was upset and devastated when I realized it wasn't going to happen.
It's not coming.
Yeah. And then, and I can say I did begin to bounce back and feel a bit better when I realized it was normal. It was normal for me to want that. And then it was normal when I realized it wasn't going to happen. It was normal that I don't like it. I still don't like it because I would like to have things the way I want them to be and just be all right. But it's normal. And realizing that it helps.
And it does get better. It doesn't stay the same. Even though the journey is never ending, it is not all uphill. Like, I think back to when I first left my marriage and the person I was then and the state that I was in, and I didn't like myself. I mean, I was not a fun person to be around, and I didn't really have anything that I enjoyed about myself or my life. And that has so drastically changed. So while I would say I'm still on my journey because it's never going to stop, my thoughts about the journey, my relation to my trauma has changed. And so I get to be I get to reinvent myself. It's like annuals, flowers. They keep coming back, like you go through your seasons, you keep coming back, you keep blooming.
It's like that day when you just realize I'm grown and sexy.
That part.
It's like when it just comes together.
Together for sure. And I just want to chime in, if I may, that you're right. This is lifelong, right?
Yes.
Hence, what I just gave you, and it may even seem trivial that it's like, oh, okay, she had some, temper tantrum moments, traveling, but that's what it's a trigger, right? Mm-hmm. Your body will go through different type of emotions, different type of feelings, different type of experiences whenever you are re-traumatized, right? So whatever that experience was for me, it made me go bonkers, right? But I was able to, pause, where the old person would have had a whole conniption, even when you're talking about it doesn't go anywhere, like I had to readdress some things, right? I had to go back and think back. I had to do some paperwork, and in the paperwork, it showed what I had filled out before. And what I filled out before was like, I don't know, like 5-6 years ago. And I'm looking at it going, dang, my life was a mess. Mm-hmm. And then here comes those thoughts. Dang, that's you. Now you gotta, some things are still not 100% great, even though other things are better, but that's still a residual effect of what happened back then. Dang, this ain't going nowhere, right? It was like a slap in my face again, right? And then what happened? It was a spiral start. I started going into these thoughts, and it was triggers, but you got to fight that, because I had to go, no, the now. I'm in the now. I'm not in the back then. And then when I go, wow, okay. And I look at those moments, even though they're very triggering and they're like, they can send you in a downward spiral. But I look at those as those little, like you said, the annuals, the perennials, right? Some of them come up every year. Some of them you got to dig up and you got to bring back. Yeah. Well, sometimes things in our life have to come back to remind you, to show you what it was, not to make you go back there. But that's what we choose to do. We choose to go back there and wallow in it. That's that powerful and pitiful part again, right? Mm-hmm. But when you can now, when it comes back to you, I have to now put a different mindset on it and go, wow, thank you. Mm-hmm. Now I can look back and go, wow, it was nothing but the grace of God that got me through those moments, that brought me to this place now, that I can recognize when my body goes through these different emotions and feelings, that now I can meet it halfway. Some things are on autopilot and you just can't stop.
Right.
Some things you just can't stop. However, that work that Minister Tia talked about and Jennifer talked about, that work is crucial. That work is your foundation that'll help you build upon it. So that way, when you have that leaky faucet, not literally, but figuratively, you have something in your toolbox. You go, oh, I needed that particular wrench. I needed that to help tighten this up. So that way I'm not boohoo crying everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And losing my mind and not thinking rationally because I am in trauma mode. It doesn't go anywhere, but how you handle it, how you respond to it, that you can control, that you have power over. And that's what those two ladies can get you to that point. That's their ex, because me and Tia, we've had these conversations plenty of times. That's why she made that clear. That's why she made that crystal clear. Because now here's the thing, and this is where I had to understand my purpose, and I had to understand my lane and my light and my gift, right? I had to go through that walk so I understand all the stages. Like, so it's not like I'm immune to those things. Oh no, I was in support groups. Hi, my name is Carolyn. Sit in a circle type of thing. Hi, my name is Carolyn and I'm a survivor. Hi, I know the 12 steps. You take what you need and leave the rest. I can spit all that stuff out to you. Went to counseling, went to support groups, journal. But that's doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's doing the work. That's doing the work. And I'm going to keep repeating it. That's doing the work and showing up anyway. Even when I didn't feel like it, show up anyway.
Yes.
Work through it, press through it, press forward, just keep pressing. And eventually something will break. Eventually your oil will start to be released. And so when you get to that place of space, now things are a little clearer. Then you can start working on what's your purpose.
Yeah, because you laid the foundation through the work.
Exactly.
And that's what it is. And
then that's when you can come to me and I can help you really set this thing ablaze.
Yeah.
whatever it is you're trying to do. But the work is imperative. It doesn't go away. Like I said, that I had that paperwork and I was like going, and I felt myself going, oh, that's because I was abused and because of all. I was like, Carolyn, why are you tripping? That was back then. Why are you about to start singing this dance to yourself? What? Me, Carolyn, did that like literally 2 days ago because I was triggered based off of what I read when I read my own story. And I was like, then I started going into this whole, and I felt like I had to explain myself. And I was like, no, I don't. Stay and stand in your power.
Yes.
Stay and stand in your power. Period.
So, Dr. Carolyn, if you would please tell Love Bay about your mini movie projects. Not too long ago, you were in your movie was shown in Rittenhouse in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I know you've been a couple different places in Pennsylvania, but tell Love Bay about your movies.
Yes. Well, it's a movie. She's putting the S on it. Like,
We just begin. Yeah, we are magnifying your essence.
I know. Everyone keeps telling me this, and I'm like, it's coming eventually. It's a lot of work. I'm just gonna let you know that. But just like there's multiple books in me, there's multiple movies in me, so they're coming. I just don't know when. But so I accept it. But I still caught that. Yeah, all right. I still caught that. So my film is called The Good Life. So The Good Life, it's about a woman's journey and a pinnacle moment in her life that allowed her to make a choice to change. Because you can have a good life after past trauma and abuse. And that woman is me. So I take you on this journey of what happened and what the choices you can do with it. How you can make this thing rainbows and Skittles. You really can.
Yes.
Right?
Ooh,
you really you really can, right? Because it's a choice. You can choose how to be powerful, or you can choose to be pitiful. Like the power is within you, the force is within you, right? You know, like for our Star Wars people, the force is with you. It's already in you, but we ignore it. We ignore that power. So my film, The Good Life, it's really to, once again, it's to show hope, because that's part of the message that God has given me to embark on the world, that you can have a good life, regardless of what your background, regardless of your narrative. You make this choice. And when you make this choice, you do the hard work. And when you do the hard work, then you will be rewarded. Whatever you sow, you will be able to reap.
Yes.
Right. And whatever capacity that shall be. I never knew I was going to wind up being a filmmaker. I never knew I was going to wind up being an author. I never knew I was going to wind up being a motivational speaker. Like, I did not know it. I thought it. I spoke it kind of like jokingly, but it was really my reality. I didn't know that I was really speaking that over my life. It was already there. Where would I, even to just speak it jokingly, it was already in me and I didn't know it. I never embraced it. I never took it seriously. I just thought it was like this little, but it's really me, because that was what I was already destined to do. I just didn't know it. But I didn't know it because I had all the other things blocking it. It wasn't clear, because the only thing that was there was the things I went through. But I have to look at it as a setup.
Yes.
It was a setup. Ooh, God set me up. So
do you have the next locations already set for the next theater where your movie will play? Is that already done, or are you still working on that?
No, not yet. Right now, like that's why I was in Gary, Indiana, because I was at a festival. It was down in where was I just recently? In where the heck was it? The Rotunda, down University of Penn. So yeah, I screened it there. And it'll be wherever somebody wants to screen it. How about that? That's where it's going to be for right now. God didn't tell me where yet. I don't know yet.
Also, Jen, you got a question or comment?
I mean, I have so many. I think it's amazing that you have branched into different forms of media. I think that books are something that is like a lot of people kind of gravitate towards that, which is fabulous. I clearly am for storytelling in any capacity. So but I love that, not every medium appeals to everybody, and these stories are so important. So I love that you are branching into different forms of media to kind of reach different audiences. Have you found that you are able to kind of capture different groups or different people through doing a movie?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, and that was kind of one of the things, because I had already written, that was my first of many books, Magnify Thoughts. And that was literally, that's like the blueprint for your journey of this healing process. And in the process of me writing this book, and then going out and speaking about it, and just being on platforms like this. I don't even think we even had a platform like this at that time, but very similarly, like just going into community centers and things of that nature to share and tell my story. And I think what happened, why I probably stated about the film, I was like, yeah, man, I'm doing a documentary. I'm thinking it was gonna be like a little 4 or 5 minute thing, like something real cute, like a reel, like we got reels. I thought it was gonna be something like that, or a short. And Lord knows I had no clue what it was going to be. And so that was what I thought, but I had no idea of what it was going to really, really, truly entail. But my reasoning behind it, when I really had to put the pen to paper and say, okay, why do I want to do this? And I said, okay, like with a book, because I can tell my story. And so, okay, everything piggyback. So first, before I had the book, I was just telling my story, sharing, telling my story, sharing. And I can only reach the people that was in that confines of that space. Okay, I got to write this down because I'm getting tired of telling this over and over and over again. I'm just I'm getting tired of telling this over and over again. But guess what? I can reach more people. And I heard this from Raina. This was one of my counterparts, Raina. She's also in the DV field. And she was like, I could reach more people with my book. And I'm like, ding, 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 ding. You're right. I can reach more people with my book. So there we go. I have my book, Magnify Thoughts. And I did. I started reaching more people with my book. I started reaching more people with my blog. Oh, Lord knows I still reach people with my blog. A blog. See, when you put your story out there and when you do this to reach, you have no idea any clue, can't get my words out, of the impact. It's long lasting. It doesn't end. Like my blog to this day, I don't think I touched that thing. I can't even tell you the last time I touched that thing. But people are still going to that blog every day. It's the gift that keeps on giving, right? Because that will reach the masses. My voice can only go but so far, right? But all the other mediums will continue and will precede me. That's the reason, right? So even when I'm no longer here, my thing is I want to live full and leave empty. I want to live full and leave empty. So therefore, that everything that God has given to me, it's for everyone else. So if that meant I had to put it in my blog, it's in my blog. That meant I've had to put it in my book, it's in my book. And okay, now everyone doesn't like to read a book. So, but guess what? I can show you better than I can tell you. So now here comes the film. And then what I'm thinking is going to be like a little 4 or 5 minute thing turned into a 30-minute short documentary. Because it was necessary. That's what it had to be. All because I just opened up and said yes. And I allowed the spirit, my higher power, God, whatever you want to call it, I'm okay with it. I'm just telling you what I call it. Allowed to guide me and use me as a vessel. Because that's all I am. I'm just a vessel. I'm just, like you said, it's a human experience. I'm just here for this time, and it has to be purposeful. And it has to be purposeful. The path was already chosen for me before I even got here. It's just I made the choice to go down the wrong path on some things, right? That wasn't in my plan. But now that I'm clear on what my purpose is, I'm clear on the path. Now I'm like, okay, I can make the right decisions and the wrong decisions. And I'm like, okay, this is either going to get me closer to my purpose, or it's going to delay it. It's not going to deny it. It's just going to delay it for a little bit. And that's what happened in my circumstances with my domestic violence. It just delayed it for a little bit. And then when I got into another DML, just delayed it a little bit more. So, but it's never been denied.
Right.
So, yeah. So all little different mediums. Yes, definitely I reach the masses now. More than what me standing in one space could ever do. More than what my voice, the words that are coming out of my mouth could ever do. However, my words, when they do come out, they're going to be powerful. The words that are going to come out either through my words, through my mouth, through my fingers, through me typing, through anything visual that you see, it's going to evoke power, and power is going to leave a message, and the message is going to be about hope, that you too can get to this place and space, whatever it is that you're destined to do and be. That's it. So yeah. So to answer the question, yes, using all the mediums. I wish I can give you a good marketing, idea. Like, yes, it was perfect. It was, strategically placed.
Just do it.
I want to be able to I can reach people. If I do this, and I just want to make the algorithm. I don't even know. I don't even know. Like, people always ask me, like, when I do my events, and people want to know, well, how many people are going to be there? And I'm like, I'm not going to give you a politically correct answer. I'm going to tell you that my job is to be there for those who show up. I don't care who shows up.
Right.
But I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be prepared for those who show up. So either you come and you be part of it, or you don't. That's okay. It's not for you. If you're worried about numbers, I'm worried about numbers too, but my numbers are for a different reason. Right. How many souls am I able to save? How many souls am I able to get to a place where they can now be their greatest? And then the rest I'll be rewarded for the rest of it afterwards. So it's wherever the priority lies. So yeah. I'll be able to reach more people that I would never even thought. Like, I have this blog post called Magnify Blessings. That thing trips me out every time I pull it up. I'm like, people still going to that thing. People still going to that thing from every corner of the earth. I can look at it right now and look up the stats and go, wow, it just blows my mind. But if I would have stayed silent, like many of us do when we're in a domestic violence situation, and even after we come out of it, we remain silent. When we've been through sexual abuse, we become silent, we remain silent. When we're sexually assaulted or any kind of trauma, we remain silent. That's your killer. Don't speak your truth, speak your voice, because it will truly free you. Live full. When I say full, like to the fullest, like nothing can bother you. It will try, but you'll have a different outcome on life. It doesn't. That's your good life, and it has nothing to do with riches. It's your soul. That's the riches that you have of your soul, of your happiness, of your peace, and then everything else will follow.
Wow. That is absolutely amazing. And we are just under the hour, so we're getting ready to go. What I want to do, Dr. Carolyn, I want you to sum it all up. What would you leave our listeners and viewers with on tonight, on magnifying your essence? And we're getting close to the end of the year, so we're going to be moving into 2025. So what would you say to Love Bay on tonight?
I have to go with what popped in my head, and it's the message: just press forward. Just press forward. Just keep pressing. Just press through all the difficult times. Just press through when you don't know what's going to come around the corner. Just press through and show up in excellence. Even if you don't know fully what it looks like, attempt it to the best of your ability. Show up. Choose power over pity, because your pity will turn into your panic. And that's not a way to live. So just press forward. Those are the 2 words: press forward. And you will have a chance to look back and you'll go, wow, I made it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Jen, do you have a final word for Love Bay on tonight?
I am just like blown away by live full and leave empty. That is going to be sticking with me for a long time. So thank you for that, because that is truly just, I don't have words is what it's doing. So that really hit me, and I am going to be thinking about that for a long time. So I love that.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Carolyn Wilson, thank you so much for being with us. Jen, thank you for being here. Love Bay, remember, when you reach out to Dr. Carolyn Wilson, magnify your essence and be magnified. Do the work first. Lay the foundation first. And then you can move into magnifying your essence. Thank you so much for being with us. We're going to look for you to be with us sometime in 2025. I know you're busy. You got to get those movies out there. So we're going to look for you in 2025. But thank you so much for being with us on tonight. Love Bay, if you want to catch up on previous episodes of our program, you can visit our YouTube channel, Surfing in Silence DV. We thank you again for joining us, for joining Surfing in Silence with Evangelist Tia here on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. Again, we're here with you every Friday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern. And Love Bay, we are continuing to rise out of the ashes together. Good evening.